Good morning, everybody. This
Morning.
this is yoga with Via on May 21st, 2020. And I just started the recording, and now that you can see me with my new lighting information. So I'm sitting in a different place in my condo because I'm learning about how to do better videos. And sitting in front of a window is actually a very good thing. So now I'm going to pin the spotlight on Kathy, and we're going to start as we always do. Whoops, hold on, spotlight video. And if Kathy does not come up on the big screen for you, then I want you to tell me, because that's what should be happening. Of course, now she doesn't come up on my big screen.
You and me.
Yeah, no, I'm not up anymore.
Okay, let's see here. Let's technical. Be patient with me while Kathy, you don't have a video.
Is it Kathy Hampton?
Yes.
She just has a picture there.
So Kathy, you have to,
Let me, I was up.
There she is. Hi. So we could pin her, right? Go to the blue dot. Go to the dot. No. There. Perfect.
And Terry, do you have a sponge ball? Or anything similar to a sponge ball?
Sponge ball.
Show you what I mean. Oh, there.
Oh, like that. A softball? Yes.
Oh, good. Because we're going to do mostly sponge ball work today. And we're going to start on our back supine. And with a stack of washcloths under your head, or you can put your sponge ball under your head. Dana, when she comes to class, I guess also in her own practice, she puts a sponge ball under her head. I think it feels a little unstable, but that's a preference. You may or see now Kathy maybe agrees with me. But there are times when it's nice to have a sponge ball under your head like that. I'm hoping almost everybody has a sponge ball. If you don't have a sponge ball, I know Diana has a prickly ball that's kind of like a sponge ball.
Hiya. Thank you for the sponge ball memory.
Okay.
I had a trouble getting on. That's why I'm late. I'm sorry. It was just not working. The Zoom.
The Zoom wasn't working?
Something with my computer. Anyway, I'm here.
Okay, good. I'm going to, people are on their backs. So one of the things I want to say to Terry, who, if you're uncomfortable on your back like this, I would like you to put a folded blanket underneath your hips and see if you can change the shape of your curve, your spinal curve, and see if that changes. Like, so Kathy has actually put the mobility strip a little lower. It would be similar to that, something about an inch thick, and see if that change, that helps you with your back. And if it doesn't, tell me in the chat and we'll try to do something else. Because some of oh, okay, thumbs up. While we're here and before, keep becoming aware of your breath, slowing down. I'm going to give you a few intelligent movement tips. So move slow. This will train your brain for better movement, improved movement. Become aware of your breath and your movement. Mind-body connection equals yoga. Repeat 3 to 6 times if I haven't mentioned something else. And listen to your body. If pain arises, make your movement smaller, slower, or stop it altogether. If you're uncomfortable and you're meeting tension and pain in a posture and you can't get out of it, chat, put it in the chat box or contact me afterwards and we'll try to work you out of that, because this is of no pain or freeing you up from pain practice. let's do a vagus nerve reset. Bring your hands behind your head. Interlace your fingers. Interlace your fingers. And then press, and then no, you don't have to press in, although Dana says she likes to press in a little bit before she moves her head, her eyeballs. So there you are, cradling your head in your hands, and without moving anything else, shift your eyeballs to the right. You can have your eyes open or closed. Shifting your eyeballs to the right and waiting for a yawn, swallow, gulp, or sigh. Resetting the vagus nerve to the restoring, healing side, relaxing side of the nervous system. And then go ahead and come back to center and shift your eyeballs to the left. And watch. For a swallow, sigh, yawn, or gulp. Come back to center and do that 2 more sets, right and left, without my cueing. Come on back to center, finish up. If you're not getting a yawn, sigh, swallow, or gulp, just keep practicing this. I would do it once or twice a day on your no class days. And see if you can train the body to respond the way it could and should respond, really. And keep your hands here, and we're going to go into a head ramping, a few head ramping movements, just because we're already in that shape. Just with your hands behind you, press the back of your skull into your hands. The chin drops, the nose drops because you pressed your head back into your hands. And just stay there and breathe. And again, head ramp. Katie Bowman calls this head ramping. Some people call it a chin tuck, but I don't like to call it a chin tuck because then you think you're tucking your chin and you're not tucking your chin. You're pressing your skull into the hands, or backward anyway. Because you could do this without hands. You could do this seated or standing. And you may want to, because it really helps to strengthen and mobilize the cervical spine. Helps with posture. Helps reverse forward head. Do one more of those. And then we're going to do, I'm going to teach Paloma Breathing, which is a very relaxing breath. And also well, all breaths do this, but it also moves oxygen throughout the body. So take a regular, ordinary inhale and exhale. On the next inhale, make that inhale into small segments, sips. Inhale, 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 inhale till you fill up your belly, your lungs, and then regular exhale. Inhale again, sip, 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 till you're full, and then exhale and release. And 2 more times. Inhale in increments until you've filled the lungs and the diaphragm. Well, the lungs are filled, the diaphragm's lifted. And then exhale and recoil. And now let's reverse it. Take one ordinary breath, inhale, exhale. And this time you're going to breathe the exhale in segments. So inhale, an ordinary inhale. And then exhale, exhale, exhale. Sips, actually it's not a sip anymore. Exhale, exhale until you're empty. You can bring your hands by on your belly or by your hips. So they don't have to be behind your head anymore. Inhale. Exhale in little increments. Exhale, exhale, exhale until you're empty. And one more. Inhale. And exhale in increments. We're going to do a hypopressive bridge pose. So your hands are out to your side. Your heels are on the floor in front of your knees are bent. Your toes are toward the ceiling. The heels are on the floor. So dorsiflexing at the ankle. So you're going to take 3 breaths and then hold your breath out and lift your hips into a bridge. So 3 breaths, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. The bottom of the exhale, no breath. Lift your hips up and keep them there. 1, 2, 3, 4, no breath. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale and then exhale and bring your hips back down. And we're going to do this again with the arms going overhead when you bridge, when the hips come up. Inhale, 3 breaths. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Last breath, inhale and exhale. Hold your breath out, no breath. Lift your hips, one, and arms go overhead. From here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale, and then exhale. Bring it down. We're going to start using the sponge ball. This is a sponge ball day. I hope most of you have a sponge ball. If you don't have a sponge ball, you can take like a hand towel and scrunch it up like a ball and maybe use that. And then Diana has a little prickly ball that she's using. So Kathy has a sponge ball. We're going to do a sponge ball series behind the neck. So put your sponge ball behind your neck. And 3 different moves. Start to nod your chin up, chin down. This is like a C1 glide over the sponge ball. I love doing neck exercises on the sponge ball because the neck is very fragile, or can be, especially as we age, it gets very cranky. And this allows you to move your neck, free up your neck, stabilize your cervical spine, but still stay safe. So nodding 6 times. And then when you're done with that, just slowly side to side, look to the left and look to the right. Or look to the right and look to the left. Allow the sponge ball to support in the movement. It may be safer for you to move farther. You may have an increased range of motion because the sponge ball is underneath you supporting you than you would have if you were just doing this with your head on the floor or towels. Last move in this triplet is a figure 8. So come back to the center and make a figure 8 with your nose.
This way or this way?
The nose is up toward the ceiling, and then the figure 8 is, up like that. So we're going to do this about 6 times and then 6 times in the other direction. I have an article I wrote about falling in love with the sponge ball again on my way to Mexico. I was in a passenger seat, 4 or 5 days. And I ended up spending a lot of time doing the movements like these with the sponge ball behind me. I'll try to post it on my Medium account, which is where I'm putting my blogs now. And just finish that up, and we're going to move the sponge ball to another place. So find your way off a supine position and onto your belly with the sponge ball under your belly button. Make sure the little pokey part of the sponge ball is not poking up, it's poking into the floor, that part. Terry, how was that? Was that better?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So lying prone on your sponge ball, with your sponge ball directly under your belly button. Just stay here for a minute and breathe. You could either be up on your elbows or you can be down with your head resting on your crossed arms, stacked arms. Just breathe. This is going to feel very unusual, probably, because this is one of the good things about this is called the Abdominal Series. One of the good things about the Abdominal Series is it starts to massage and create space and release fascia in an area that we don't often go to. So breathing and then finding a way to move up and down over the ball. You may have to go up onto your elbows and up onto your toes a little bit. So you're going to push yourself back and forth over the ball about 5 or 6 times. Slowly. And then find a way to move side to side over the ball. So actually, this is better skin to skin. So if anyone wants to take their shirts and pull them up a little bit and move over, you can even, if you don't want us to see you do that, of course, most of us aren't paying any attention to it all. Well, I hopefully am paying attention, but not everyone, not anyone else. But if you wanted to, you could turn off your picture. So skin to skin is better. Especially in a movement like this. Come back to center, and we're going to do the last thing at this position we're going to do is a contract and relax. So it's just breath. You're going to inhale and contract your stomach muscles, and then hold, and then relax them. And do that a couple times. So you should feel a little bit of activity because of the contraction and the hold. And if we had time, you could go back through the movements, the up and down and side to side movements with a contraction, with the contracted breath. We're going to relocate the ball, relocate the sponge ball a little bit below the belly button. So we're really massaging all the muscles and all the organs and all the fascia that's in your abdominal area. So you start just by taking some breaths and feeling the new compression that you're creating for yourself in a new area. Each of these, we're going to do the same moves, but it should feel very different because you're in a different location. Now try to go up and down. How are you doing? Up and down. So using elbows and toes and anything you've got. Caitlin's going to have to watch this because she said she specifically asked for therapy ball. I mean, for sponge ball work. And then just side to side. So it's the same movements. We're going to do it in a third location in a minute. Come back to the center and contract. So inhale, hold, and then relax. And inhale, hold. You'll feel the ball kind of comes up into the area that the space you've left from your inhale. Contract and relax, contract and relax. And remember, if we had more time and in your home practice, you could do the up and down and side to side here. The last location is above. Place the ball above your belly button. This actually is really good for opening up the upper back. So Terry, take note. This would be a good thing to do, I think. You could ask your physical therapist too, but so your ball is above the belly button. Just stay here and take some breaths. How are you doing, Kathy?
Trying to position correctly.
You're trying to find the best position? Yeah. Take some breaths. See if you can breathe into the back of your lungs, because you can, because you're not lying on the back of your lungs. So prone positions are beneficial for deep lung breathing. These locations, this work, they feel very foreign to you if you've never done anything like this before. It works with respiration, improves your respiration, your breathing. Now up and down, back and forth she goes, up and down. Slow and easy and aware and breathing. And then side to side, small movement side to side. Caitlin's here. Hi, Caitlin.
Hi.
Grab your sponge ball. When the sponge ball is placed underneath above your belly button. And the last move here in this set is to come back to center, neutral, and breathe, take an inhale, hold, contract, and then exhale and release back into the ball, really basically. And again. See if you can also feel like your breath is moving the back of the lungs. And do that a couple times. And then remove the ball and just stay here and rest in a crocodile resting pose with your arms stacked, forearms stacked, and your head resting on your forearms. You can look in either direction, or you can have your face straight down. Just rest and breathe. And then come up and onto your side lying with the ball, the therapy ball at your waist, at your QL. It's at that little soft part between your rib cage and your pelvis. And so you're lying on the ball, and you're going to have to put something under your head, maybe a thick brick, because you're now in a side lying practice. Nice. Just stay here and breathe and see if you can feel the sponge ball is actually releasing fascia, and in a minute you're going to be moving up and down and side to side over the sponge ball on your side body. So start to move up and down, see what you can do. You may want to use your top hand pressing into the floor. And then you may want to lift up off of your brick. So you want to move. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. You might straighten your legs and see if you can get your feet involved. No? Yes, you can. We could spend quite a bit of time working on the QL. The sponge ball is only one way to do it, but we'll do that another time. It's an important neglected area of the body. So after you've gone up and down a few times, nice work, Kathy, and you're exhausted. Go backward and forward. So it's hard to say side to side when you're side lying. So it's really to the front and to the back. And finish that. And just, we're going to do the side lying. We're going to stay on the ball, but I'll add the side lying leg series that we do when we do the side lying practice. So just go ahead and straighten your legs and lift your top leg up and lower it. So lift and lower. Try to keep your hips stacked, your shoulders stacked, your ankles stacked. Yes, you may need help from your top arm. And up and down you go. This should be familiar to you, except for the sponge ball at your waist. It creates a little bit of instability, which should challenge your stability. But try to keep it pure. Could be small for some of you. And then when you're finished with that, start moving forward and back, flexion, hip flexion and extension. And you can add footwork by dorsiflexing the foot as you come forward and plantar flexing or pointing as you go back. So Kathy, try to keep your hips quiet. It's harder now because you have created some more instability for yourself. You may want to bend your bottom knee. Maybe that'll help.
It's hurting now.
What? Who said what?
It's hurting.
Oh, yes. Are you able to do that, Parvin?
My hip is a little bit hurting, yes.
Off the ball. Come off the ball and see if that's
Off the ball, yeah. I took it off.
okay. Is it better?
Huh?
Is it better?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And then make it smaller. So the ball is harder. It's a progression. The last one you're going to do is clams. We're going to add resistance to the clams. So knees bent, and remember, you can come off the ball if it's too much. So the top knee comes away from the bottom, the toes and the ankles stay together. Just lifting, and you might want to make it smaller. If you start to jiggle, make it smaller, because this is harder work than if you were there without the ball. And let's add some resistance. I think maybe I'll have you come down off the ball for this. Add some resistance. Bring your knees a little bit closer to your face. Put your hands at the knee, your top hand at your knee, and resist the upward movement of the thigh with your hand. So Kihara resistance, stretching, always moving, always resisting. Your hand resists the upward movement of the knee resists the downward movement of the hand. You should feel this both in your thigh and in your glutes. Nice work. And that should be enough of that. And we're going to do, because we're still here, because we're here. No, we'll do some more shoulder work in a seated position. Let's go ahead and flip to the other side, and we'll do the other side, side lying with sponge ball. Or remember, take the sponge ball out if it's too much. And your legs can be straight or bent at this point. Take some breaths and then figure out how to move up and down over the ball. I guess you probably have to have straight legs to do this because you're going to use your toes. And now back and forth over the ball. This is all working on the Quadratus lumborum, which is like I said, a neglected muscle, but it's also one that helps us twist and side bend. And it's often involved in lower back pain, or can be the source of lower back pain. Now, keep your ball there or take it away if you need to. And we're going to start just a leg series, lifting the leg and lowering it. Try to keep the hips stacked, the shoulders stacked. Up and down you go. Nice. This could be very small. Like Parvin, if this hurts your hips, make
This
it
side is better.
is better. Good.
This side is better.
Well, this side is
Hip
better.
pad, yeah.
And now forward and back. So flexion and extension. Remember, you can add footwork by dorsiflexing as you come forward, pointing your toes toward your face and then pointing away, plantar flexion as you go back. Flexion, hip flexion forward, and actually ankle flexion forward. And then extension. And try to keep your hips quiet, but it's more of a challenge with the ball under your waist. If this is too unstable for you, just remove the ball. And come on back. And let's do clams, the last in this series. Bring your knees, bend your knees. And remember, you may want to remove the ball. And then just open up. The knee opens up, the feet stay together. This is an abductor, adduction, abduction, adduction movement. So if you start to feel it in the hip flexors, you've gone too far. Good for the knees, good for the hips, good for the knees. And then let's add resistance with the hand that's on the knee. You may want to bring your knees a little closer to your face so that your hand is in a good position to resist the upward movement of the knee. So as the knee moves away, the hand resists that movement. As the hand pushes the knee back down, the knee resists the movement, the downward movement. So you're always resisting one direction or the other. Don't go too hard. You can fatigue yourself pretty quickly here. It's more like a dance than a war. And you should start feeling this in the glutes when you add the resistance. And finish up and find your way onto your back with your sponge ball. This is just a relaxing position, hopefully, but also an opening position, a chest opening position. Put your sponge ball at your mid or upper back, somewhere along your mid or upper back. You may need a small brick or some towels to rest your head on. So put that under your head, Kathy, not your neck. Put it straight down. Can you put it straight down? Oh, that's too far, isn't it? So this is a little tricky because, finding the perfect what underneath your head, because you really want your head to drop down so that create an opening in your chest. So if you create just a straight line with your spine there, it's not going to be as much of an opening. So play with that, the location, what you put under your head. And play with the location of your sponge ball, which could be up a little higher, Kathy. So you're almost at your waist. I would put it up higher, no lower than your rib cage, the bottom of your rib cage, and maybe up higher, depending on you finding this perfect place. While you're here, that looks better to me. While you're here, your arms can go out in a T or in a cactus pose with bent elbows. So can you see that you're opening the back and the chest. And just stay here and rest. And breathe. And the placement of the ball varies depending on your personal preference. Where do I need to release my upper or mid back? Another place you can put your arms is you can put your arms in a cactus again, but then drop them, keep them along the floor, keep the arms along the floor, and then drop the elbows, walk the elbows down toward the waist. So you're still at a 90-degree angle. Pull your elbows into your waist. Yes. Does that bother your shoulders? Yeah. So don't do it if it bothers your shoulders. If it doesn't bother your shoulders, it's a great way to open the chest and create some space also at where the arm bone meets the glenohumeral joint. It's one piece of the flying pizza, which we'll do in a minute. Now we're going to come up to seated and do some shoulder work. So find your favorite floor-seated position or sit on a chair. Find your good posture. And the first thing we're going to do is just shoulder shrugs. So bring your shoulders up to your ears as far as you can come, and then just release them. And do that a couple times, up. So, you know, we're always asking you to relax your shoulders and not to bring them up to your ears. But in this case, I'm asking you to do as much of that, the extreme shoulder shrug, and then just allow it to let go. And one more. And release. And just shake your shoulders and shake your hands. Bring your arms up above your head. Interlace your fingers. Your elbows are no lower than your chin. Sit tall. And then imagine that you have a balloon between your elbows. Bend your elbows, Kathy. Bend your elbows. And then they are no lower than your chin. Take them as far away as you can, as wide as you can. And now imagine there's a balloon in between your elbows, and bring your elbows together, but imagine that you're deflating a balloon. And then as you return, reverse this, imagine you're inflating the balloon. And back and forth you go, but this is isometric. It's a Kihara stretch. I call it shoulder clams, actually. 2 clams today. And back and forth you go. You should feel this and across the upper trapezius. And you can experiment with taking your elbows higher, but not lower than your chin. And a couple more times. Nice work, everybody. In between these shoulder movements, you may want to shake out because they're pretty demanding. The last one we're going to do is, we might go down on the floor and do shoulder circles. But the last one we're going to do is flying pizzas, seated flying pizzas. So go ahead and bring your elbows. Let me see, request to mute everybody. Let me do that. Well, go ahead and shake it out and I will find the mute button. How come I can't find that? All of my menus are gone. That's weird. That's really weird. I cannot find the mute button. Well, everybody mute themselves, except Kathy. Everybody mute themselves. Yeah. Somehow I have no idea how I would lose a mute button. Anyway.
Via, go to chat and then it'll pop out and then you can mute everybody that way.
Oh, there, no, here it is at the participants. There it is, it's in the participants box, not the chat box, mute all.
Either one.
Yes. Okay, good. Well, okay. So here we are, flying pizzas. So your elbows are bent, your hands, forearms are forward and palms are facing each other to start. And then from here, you go ahead and take your arms, your forearms out to the side. And by the time you've reached the side, your palms are up. So there's a wrist rotation that's also happening here. And then you just return and then come out. This is a tray or a flying pizza. And then return. And back and forth you go. You should feel this in the back of the shoulders and the scapula. If it's hard to do both of them, do one at a time, which is always a solution or a way. Another way to practice is one side and then the other. And actually, you actually get to notice more if there's some differences on one side of the other when you do that. One, and then two. Finish up. Find your way onto the floor for one bonus. Side-lying shoulder circles. Just because I love them. And I intended to do them, and then I brought you up to seated. So I have class notes. If anyone ever wants written class notes, yes. So we have some people in this class who love shoulder circles. So here you are lying on your back, on your side, you know, and don't put a ball under your waist this time. And take your arm, your top arm, and bring it to your hip. So along your hip, and start there and go backwards. So just circle, go back behind you, and then up around by your ear, and then forward, and then back to the hip. And try to keep the shoulders stacked and the hips stacked and the knees stacked. So someday, especially someday if Terry's here, or maybe we'll have time, probably not, we're running out of time today. I used to do as a signature pose, another pose that was similar to this, except I asked people to go way back, as far back as they can, and reach the floor. I'm not asking you to do that now. I'm asking you to keep this in the glenohumeral joint. And keep the shoulders stacked. And then reverse your circle. Finish up and flip to the other side. This is our last pose before the 61-point guided meditation. Circle the shoulder. Circle the arm. Keep the shoulders stacked. This is called circumduction. Actually, when your circle, the circle motion is going to reach all of the various directions of movement that the arm bone can go. So behind and over, forward. Which is one of the reasons it's so delicious, I guess, is because it meets so many needs. The the arm bone needs to move in the glenohumeral joint, in the shoulder joint. Reverse. And finish up. And find your way onto your back into a comfortable position. Terry, remember to put a blanket, folded blanket underneath your hips to soften the curve, flatten the curve, actually flatten the curve. So that your mid-back will be more comfortable. You could also try that. Anyone could try that. If their lower back is uncomfortable, you could try the same thing. All you're trying to do is just change the curve a little bit. Find a comfortable place. You may want to put a blanket over your body. You may want to put a washcloth over your eyes. I'm going to lead you in a 61-point Yoga Nidra meditation, asking you to systematically move your attention through the points that I mentioned without moving your body. Starting with the breath, watching the abdomen rise and fall with your inhale and your exhale. Now bring your awareness to the center of your eyebrows, center of your throat, right shoulder, elbow, wrist, right hand thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, right wrist, elbow, right shoulder, center of your throat, left shoulder, elbow, wrist, left hand thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, left wrist, left elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, spiritual heart center, right side of your chest, heart center, left side of your chest, heart center, navel center, center of your pelvis, right hip, right knee, right ankle, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, right ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, left hip, left knee, ankle, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, left ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, navel center, heart center, center of your throat, center of your eyebrows. That concludes the 61-point guided meditation. Stay here and breathe. You may want to extend your legs. We're going to start wiggling and stretching in a minute, but before we do, just thank your body and your mind for bringing you here and moving with you. Get an attitude of gratitude. Find the gratitude in your practice. And then just start to wiggle, bring your arms overhead and create some more space between your pelvis and your rib cage. You may have a little more space because of the work we did on the sponge ball. Wiggle and stretch. One leg, one arm, one side. Wiggle your fingers and toes. And then hug your right knee and hug your left knee and hug both knees and rock from side to side. This is a great movement. This is an upside down child's pose, by the way. So if you ever have trouble with child's pose, you could flip onto your back and do this. And it's a great movement to stretch out the lower back. Roll to the forward, roll forward. Rest here for 30 seconds or so. Use your top hand to press yourself up into a seated position. Sit tall. Bring your hands to your heart. Press your palms together. Glide the occipital ridge, the base of the skull, forward over the top's vertical cervical vertebra, C1. Nodding to each other, bowing, nodding, and saying to each other, oops, I didn't unmute you. Hold on, hold that thought. Saying to each other, namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, some people are still not unmuted. I don't know why that is.
Good class. Thank you.
Thank you, Via. That was excellent.
So
Yeah.
let me, I'm going to stop the recording, but if people want to stay, they can and chat.